I think we're live. I think we are live, guys. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're all having a great Sunday. Of course, those of you who are very, very early. And let me quickly share the news that we're live on all platforms. And then we will get started. No, I'll get some water and then we'll get started. But first, let's see. There we go. And there. And there. All right, send it everywhere that's relevant. And now let's get right into it. How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a good Sunday so far? We'll take a look at the general markets in this live stream. We'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin. We'll talk a little bit about altcoins, and then I wanted to highlight some altcoins that I am watching today, but not to buy today. Sunday is usually not a good time to buy, but ultimately to potentially buy next week. I mean, obviously tomorrow we have those FTX repayments, right? Of billions of dollars. So that's a bit of a tricky thing to predict what that's going to do to the markets. But ultimately, do I think we're going to get volatility? Yes, quite certainly. So yeah, but no, I mean, today it's Sunday, like I said, and tomorrow it's Monday. Monday for the last month has been a little bit bearish usually. So I don't expect much for today nor tomorrow, but ultimately next week I do think we can have some good moves again. And we might even get some sort of a bullish reversal, but we'll talk about that first. Let me know how you're doing. And at the end of the live stream, by the way, I also wanted to go over some questions. And in between, we can also talk about some questions, of course, that you may have. But let me know how you're doing. And if you have any questions to start off this live stream, and I will get some water. See you in a moment. All right, we're back. Yeah. So yeah, let's get started. Like I said, but for those of you joining in later, we'll start off with a bit of a market overview, talking about Bitcoin, talking about altcoins in general. Then I'll highlight some altcoins that I personally like. By the way, if you did not watch my videos this morning, this morning I made a video which I normally don't really make, or at least these types of videos I make quite rarely, and that's this one with the thumbnail underrated altcoin. I would very much suggest you to watch that. I think it's an opportunity you do not want to miss. And in the video I also talk about how you can actually get some free money. All right. Free money doesn't exist, of course, but it's very low risk yield, right? And basically you just look up some stable coins and you can get like 8% per year, which is, you might say that's nothing, but if you compare that with other potential investments, that's still quite good. And it's like I said, it's relatively risk free because you're just putting in stable coins. But yes, all right, let's go over this. What's up, Wesley? Welcome to the stream. Matic, welcome to the stream. Andrew, we'll take a look at our TARS AI in a moment. Mensko, yes, altcoins at this point of time are not doing amazing. However, and that's also, well, I mean, I can tell you, I made a video on this yesterday. I think altcoins are still at a level where they could rebound, right? We're now at this green area right here. That was always the main support level for altcoins. Although you could say that it actually goes down a little bit lower as well historically, something like this. But ultimately we are at a support level for altcoins, which means that if the fundamentals allow it, this might be a good area to buy some altcoins, right? So even though, yeah, at this point of time, altcoins don't look great, usually when altcoins don't look great, that's the time to buy, right? I mean, they also did not look great at the beginning of April, but that was the ideal moment to buy. And not a lot of people did that. We'll take a look at XRP. No spamming, guys, please. Come on. We're all adults in here. Yeah, we'll cover Colin. Welcome to the stream. We'll analyze Ethereum real quick as well. I'll go over Bitcoin, XRP, and then Ethereum. Jaya Satria WCT already pump and dump. Can you see if it can still be manipulated to the top again? It's unlikely. I don't need to show you the chart. I know the chart from memory. But very often, like, can we see one spike close to the top? It's possible, but very often when you see, well, we'll take a look at the chart, but very often when you see manipulation, like we saw with Wallet Connect, with WCT, it doesn't return there, right? I mean, at this point of time, we would need a move of about 140%. And I can tell you from experience that I have maybe once seen a chart like this that actually recovered. I have seen charts like this very often, right? So that gives you somewhat of an idea of how often it happens. No, I mean, do I think we can spike up again? Yes, but ultimately, if you take a look at a similar coin, which is Layer, I think something like this is more likely, unfortunately. But I do think that's the case. Very unfortunate. I hope you did not lose any money in that, but that's just what you see very often with coins like that. Mudang and Turbo, we'll take a look at that as well, like I said, but first we'll start with Bitcoin, XRP and Ethereum. We just spoke about altcoins. I mean, I can talk for a very, very long time about this chart, right? So this chart is the total altcoin market cap, but ultimately, I think I'll make a video on this tomorrow to kind of update it. After we've actually had the stock market opening, I think I can say much more about it then, because basically what we're looking for right now is some sort of a move like this, right? So that we reclaim support right here, and that then we're back in this balance right here, but from this balance right here, we can start to rally up higher, right? So that is something that depends very much on how the new week opens in terms of the fundamentals, stock market, news, etc. So yeah, we're at a strong support level. I personally did buy some altcoins just in full transparency, but well, it just very depends on the week opening. So we'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. New all-time high in June, Mensko. I hope so too, but ultimately when we look at Bitcoin right now, like the 4-hour time frame has really shifted, right? The 4-hour time frame right here is now bearish. I mean, if you go back in time to the last time that Bitcoin rallied, what you'll see is that breaking the 4-hour downtrend is not necessarily the end of the world. Like we did it here as well, the 25th of November. But what you can see is that after that period of time, no, that's not how I can measure it. But after that period of time, like from the 25th of November until the 4th of December, we just consolidated. So I would say at least short term, when we're talking about the next 2 weeks, I would say it's more likely that we're going to find some sort of balance, and that will stay kind of neutral, and that will start to consolidate rather than new all-time high. So June is a possibility, but I wouldn't expect it at the start of June. Raika, that's great news. There's very, very few things better than a morning coffee. Sippy, welcome to the stream. Arnold, welcome to the stream. Tars AI, we'll look at it in a moment. Well, let's just look at it right now. Why not? Which charts do I want to see? Yeah, I think this one. Yeah, TARS, not bad. I mean, TARS AI is one of the altcoins that's actually still in an uptrend. We broke above this key support level right here at 10 cents. That's also where the daily trend is. So I would say, yeah, I mean, we've been volatile, certainly, and volume has been decreasing, so that's not great. But as it stands right now, I would still say it's most likely for TARS AI to rally back into the yearly rolling VWAP right here at 14 cents. And I would even go as far as saying that it's most likely will get up to 17.5 cents. Now, does that mean that I think you should buy TARS AI? Not necessarily, but ultimately that is technically what looks most likely. And then the most important key level to look at, and that we also need to hold, because if we do not hold it, we have lost the uptrend on the daily time frame. It's 10 cents, right? So we can drop down below 10 cents, but we should reclaim it relatively soon afterwards. As long as we do that, TARS AI is fine. And even though because of the volume that's decreasing right now, I would say it's a little bit more likely that we'll get into some sort of a consolidation with TARS. From that consolidation, I think a bullish continuation is most likely. But all right. So let's go over Neon Sauce. Welcome to the stream from MN. Minnesota? Or am I sounding very, or am I sounding ridiculous right now? That's the first thing that came to mind. Amen. I don't know. Let's see. We'll just go over the comments. I mean, we've spoken. I mean, if you watch my video on Bitcoin this morning, you already know what I think about Bitcoin, right? I think with Bitcoin, we just need to wait for either a reclaim above 105,000 or a break below 103,500. And until then, we're kind of in no man's land, right? We're in the middle of this, in the middle of two very strong key levels. And we're going to see a breakout, and that's also what I said in the video this morning. But at this point of time, not like neither the bullish breakout nor the bearish breakout seems most likely. So there's not much I can say about Bitcoin. When we're talking about XRP right here, I would still say it's most likely right here that we're going to drop down lower into the value area low at 2.07, potentially into that area around $2, because it's very rare that the value area low, that's, like I said, that's the main support level at 2.07. It's very rare that that level holds, right? It happens sometimes. I mean, you can see right here, for example, it kind of did. But it's more likely that the price deviates below that. And in this case, that would be $2. But from there, I do expect a support reaction. Same thing for Ethereum. Ethereum bounced, fell down back within the balance, broke below the POC right here. Rejected at the POC yesterday when we had a little bit of strength over the course of the afternoon. And it seems likely to me, which already was most likely when we drop back down into balance right here, that we're going to drop down to the bottom of the balance. But again, the value area low is around like 2460. Wow, that's a very straight arrow. 2460, but then you have the 30-day rolling VWAP at 2430. And more support at 2400. So it seems more likely, like I said, very similar to XRP, that Ethereum is going to hold support, but that will drop down a little bit lower before holding it, and before getting back up to 2600 ultimately, which is also what I expect. All right, let's go over some more comments. There's also, I'll try to blend it in somewhere in the video. But there's also some altcoins that I would like to talk about in this video, so we'll do that. But for now, let's continue with some questions. I mean, answering questions like this is I think very interesting as well, because sometimes there's amazing insights in questions, right? Because with questions you start to think about concepts and you start to think about cryptos a little bit more, and that is very much where most of the edge in crypto is. There's so many traders that don't really think. When they're trading, that if you actually put some thought into ideas, into setups, you can make money still quite easily in crypto. And don't get me wrong, it's a zero-sum market, right? So if $1 million is being if $1 million is being made by someone else or some others lose it, but still you can make money in that. Barte, we just looked at Tars AI just a moment ago. All right, so it's still on the screen. If you go back like 5 minutes or so, I think you'll find it. And Neon Sauce, I was right, but welcome from Amsterdam, right here. All right, let's see. Hatim, welcome to the stream. Good to have you here. Wan Cheng, for Solana recovery, I made a video on Solana yesterday. That's still valid. Is recovery possible? Yes. Do I think it's most likely given the technical situation for Solana right now? No. The breakdown we had on Friday and Saturday was quite strong. So we need a lot of momentum to get back from that. And at this point of time, or at least yesterday, but the situation hasn't really changed. Solana didn't look like it had that momentum. So yeah. ZBCN. So this is a coin I've seen a lot in the last couple of days because it has been incredibly strong, as you can see right here. And this is the beautiful thing in crypto, right? CBCN actually rallied over the course of the, well, what is it? Over the course of the last 2 weeks, rallied about 300%. Look, I've seen a lot of people ask questions about this. I might make a video on this tomorrow. Because, I mean, price action like this is always very interesting, but I don't know enough about the project to give you a good opinion on this right now. If I look at this purely technically, I would say we have some major bearish divergences, right? So there are reasons to suspect that this is a top. And by the way, this is the coin. There are some reasons to suspect that this is the top, because with this move higher, with this higher high, we made a lower high with the RSI, and we made a lower high with the volume, right? So there was much less strength behind that last move. And if we zoom in a bit, a very crucial support level seems to be this level right here, around, let's say, 0.55 cents, so 0.0055. As long as we hold that, we're good to go higher, and we're still technically bullish. If we drop down below that, in combination with these bearish divergences, I think we're going to fall. And usually when you have a move like this, where you can also see that we left a lot of imbalances right here, right there. Usually when we start to pull back, it goes insanely quick as well. All right, so just be aware of that. As it stands right now, it is still strong, it is still bullish, but we've had some indications with the divergences to suspect that this is a top. We're losing volume, and so would I buy it right now? I would be very careful. I would not buy this, but that's also partially caused by my ignorance, right? I haven't checked this out, and I don't know what Sebek does. I have used it, by the way. I mean, this is Sebek, right? Yeah, I have actually used this platform back in the day, but at this point of time, I wouldn't know. Can I? Oh, this is they migrated to Solana. Let me see. No, I will not connect my wallets, but ultimately it's interesting. But those are my thoughts on it. Truls Peterson, lick at 126. I would be worried, to be fair, because if we look at Solana right here, welcome to the stream, by the way. If we look at Solana, look, we can still recover, right? So if you go to the daily time frame, we can still reclaim this support level at $160, and then we're fine, right? Then nothing has happened, and then we're back into this balance here to the upside, and we can easily rally back up to 192 and 194. However, you have to ask yourself the question: well, do I actually expect that we'll reclaim this? And even though it is a realistic possibility, personally, I don't see any indication of us doing that right now, right? And if we're unable to reclaim that level, then we are going to drop down lower. And then 125 is at the support level of this huge range. So then there's a very realistic chance that 125 gets hit. So yes, I would say it's too high, that liquidation price. But like I said, that's I mean, we could just as well reclaim this level. So it's in a bit of a tough situation. If we are unable to reclaim that level, let's say on by Tuesday, I would probably close the position. But that's look, I don't give advice, right? So you have to do your own research as well and your own analysis. But those would be my thoughts. Regular stuff. If you mean that you have your savings on a Solana long at 150, de-risk it. All right. Don't put your savings on a trade, please. That's I'm laughing, but it's serious. Don't do that. Colin, we covered Ethereum. I'm not sure if your comment is from before that. Noble Santos, Sonic. It's complicated. I want to buy Sonic, but I'm a little bit afraid of the airdrop that's going to come, and all the S coins that will be unlocked. So at this point of time, I'm not buying. Look, I think we are at an amazing support level, but personally, I'm being a little bit hesitant with this, even though I like the project a lot, given the fact that such a big airdrop is coming. So it's complicated. I really want to buy, but I won't. At this point of time, I won't, at least. Although, I mean, this level looks great, right? Amazing support level. Let's see. Yeah, Navid, we covered CBCN. I think you've seen that, but obviously I'm reading these comments a little bit later. By the way, if you go back a little bit in this stream, if you're watching this later, we covered altcoins, we covered Bitcoin, we covered XRP, we covered Ethereum, and then some other altcoins, right? So TARS AI we covered, CBCN we covered, Sonic we now covered. There's a couple of other altcoins I really want to speak about, right? So we'll speak about that in a moment. But first, let's cover a few more. comments. Let's see, BitTensor. So yeah, Ahmed, you I think you asked about BitTensor earlier. So my apologies for not responding earlier. But BitTensor actually still looks good. BitTensor is still holding the daily trend right here. It's even holding the 3-day trend, right? So if you want to buy BitTensor, it's a bit of a tricky thing. Because like I said at the start of the video, look, if altcoins are going to be able to hold support, BitTensor is going to rally into $600 easily. So then I would say that the current levels are actually still pretty good to buy. But then you are depending on altcoins to hold support, right? So ultimately, I would say, look, if you want a long-term position on Tau, great support levels to buy are $350, $200, and if we break above the level, $475. Those are by far historically the best levels to buy BitTensor. And at this point of time, I don't see a reason why we would drop down below $200. So that if you buy at those levels, especially 350 and 200, you'll get an average price that's good enough to make really good profits actually. Kai Hermans, that's an epiphany you're creating with me. at this point of time, is it this point in time? Is it really? I feel a little bit stupid right now, but let me see. Wait. So I always say at this point of time. Yeah, it's at this point in time. You are right. This point in time. Listen, I cannot promise that I'll say it the right way in my upcoming videos, but I appreciate it and I will keep an eye on it, or at least keep an eye on it. I will pay attention to when I say at this point in time. Welcome to the stream, team Dave. Dave, welcome. Mudeng. Oh yeah, Mudeng. I would still cover. Some others ask about that as well, so let's see where it's at. I'm a little bit afraid of watching this. Well, Mudeng is actually pretty fine still. I mean, there's no clear trend right here. However, it's still above the main support level, right? I mean, the main support level I've been looking at for some time already is this level right here at 15 cents. Even though Mudeng is incredibly risky to trade, of course. I would still say 15 cents is an amazing level. It's a good area to buy Mudeng. However, the volume is very low, right? So ultimately, this is quite risky. And would I personally want to scale into meme coins right now? No, 15 cents looks more like a good trade opportunity. Rather than an accumulation point. If you want to accumulate Mudeng, honestly, I would wait either for lower prices or for some momentum to return, because you can see down here that momentum has been on a decline for quite some time, I'd say. All right, so let's look at Ondo. Oh, Ondo is actually at a pretty interesting level right here. I did a video on Ondo before where we actually spoke about this move, because Ondo I think is a very interesting project with great fundamentals, but the price action, especially since March, has not been great, right? Where we saw a lot of rallies for altcoins, Ondo has been relatively stable, which is not necessarily bad, but it is something that you wouldn't like to see if you're holding it. But fundamentally, first of all, I still think that Ondo will do great, and technically, I think we're getting towards some very very interesting levels as well. Personally, and this is a bit of a it's not a signal, but it's at least what I will most likely do. If we drop down into 75 cents, I will buy Ondo. So just so you know, I'm still that convinced about it fundamentally for 2025, and 75 cents is an amazing support level, right? You have third touches like this not very often, and you can see most often they actually do provide a strong bounce at the very least. So yeah, I think that's definitely still an interesting coin to look at. But like I said, it's like why does it never pump? Progress forward, good question. I don't know. All right, it can be a huge amount of things. It could have to do with market makers. It could have to do with the market cap, which has obviously since the unlocks in January has significantly increased. But in the end, look, it's hard to say. Chill guy, but I don't have an opinion on that now. I haven't looked at that in a very long time. As far as I know, it doesn't have a lot of momentum at this point in time. Otherwise, I would have seen it, I think. Syrup Femi, I think, is getting towards some very strong support levels. Syrup has been bearish, but I think this level at 30 cents will be a local support. So definitely one area to keep your eyes on. Let me see. Marbo, yes, I do have an online course. I do have a trading course already, and I'm building a new one right now. However, it's part of the Signal group, right? So if you enter the Signal group, then you get the trading guide for free. And like I said, the new trading guide is a work in progress. But I've created almost all the lessons for my main strategy I use to trade. So I think it's worth it, right? But obviously, I'm pretty biased. We're almost going to end the stream, by the way, guys. I have some other work I need to do. And we've been almost streaming for half an hour, so that's also not too short. How's Formula 1 doing, by the way? Is Max already P1? Yeah, he is. But did he already make some pit stops? Can I see that real quick? I don't know. You can see it live here, right? Or not? Verstappen leads ahead of after first pit stops. Yeah, so I don't think he pitted, but we'll see. Well, I am going to see after this live stream. And Wesley, Altseason, I've explained what I think about Altseason quite often. I don't think we are ever going to get an Altseason again like we had in 2017 and 2021. And that's for the simple reason, this is the total altcoin market cap, right? And if you take a look at the start of the last alt season back in 2022 or 2020, 2021, we started at a market cap of $50 billion. You could say we actually started lower, but $50 billion. And then we had an alt season, right? An amazing alt season, by the way. But now we are already trading at $240 billion. And people are not calling this an alt season. So the total market cap in crypto has increased to such an amount that I think getting the multiples that we saw in the last altcoin market, alt season, are impossible. And I would actually say that, alt seasons, I'm not sure if we're ever going to get those again, right? Because if you take a look at this price action, by the way, this is a little bit scary, right? I mean, if you take a look at this, this looks bad. And then you take a look at this. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. But if you take a look at this, could be scary. Could be very scary. But no, I mean, I think some sort of an alt season actually already started in 2023 at the end right here, because there we actually started from $120 billion. And from there we actually went up like 3x with the entire altcoin market. So it's definitely not as strong as an alt season as we had before, but still it's relevant, I'd say. Guys, we're going to end the stream. All right, we covered quite a lot. Like I said, I have some other things to do. Maybe I'll make another video. A little bit later, but for now that's it. If you have any questions about specific coins, consider joining our free Telegram and Discord groups. All right, if you tag me in there, if you ask me for an analysis in there, I can make it for you in there as well. But for now that's it. All right, so we're going to end the stream. I'll be back with new videos at least tomorrow, maybe later today. I'm going to watch some Formula 1. So have a great rest of your weekend.